Hey, welcome to the premiere episode of The Last Booth. My name is Chris, and I'm the host producer of the pod. Let's discuss a few things really quick. One, I very well may be one of the last few souls on the planet without a podcast. This is indeed my first foray into any of this. So, some of the technical aspects of the pod may not be up to par at first. If you haven't already picked up on it, the audio for these first few episodes are not crisp. And when I say that, it's not crisp at all. Two, you as the listener can expect to see a rotation of various guests. The format starting out is more of a 1v1, if you will. At some point in the very near future, it's my hope that I'll be able to modify this setup so that I can accommodate multiple guests in one setting for more of that guys' night vibe. Three, there will be a ton of social engagement opportunities. Well, as soon as I get those social media accounts going, that is. Be on the lookout for the socials, as I'm excited to hear from all of you. Last thing, my good pal Charzell and I recorded this on the heels of my annual paintball outing that I put together. And let's just say we were both gassed coming into this, but we taped it as soon as we did so that we could get the episode up. Also, I noticed I had the noise reducer on about 10 to 15 minutes into it, so that stretch is a bit rough audio-wise. Nonetheless, we recap that paintball event, we talk about how awesome Walton Goggins is, and we ponder about the future of the ever-changing gaming landscape. Okay, that's enough of me rambling. I'm excited you're here and hope you stick around. Welcome again to The Last Booth. Okay, Charzell.
Hey.
Okay, we got plenty to discuss here tonight. But first, I got to know, how are you holding up after paintball yesterday?
Still sore, still recovering, but walkability has improved, I'd say about 30-40% since then.
Okay, that's good. So for the listeners, this is our annual paintball event that I've been doing since 2007, 2008, if I could talk. But we've been doing it for almost 20 years, if you can believe that.
Nice.
So we usually have a group of about 20 or so, and that was the case here. Different ages, different generations, different personalities. It's a good time, and we usually do it different venues. But it's a shame that paintball as a sport is not as popular as it once was.
True.
And not sure why. I mean, it is expensive, but we try to keep it once or twice a year, nothing more than that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just there's something to be said about the togetherness that the group has throughout the event, or at least that was my experience. What was your experience?
Honestly, especially for the first time, I've done airsoft, I think I've only ever shot like a real gun like twice, but honestly, the physical appliances for that, I'll never forget. I mean, I felt like I was in like a high tier PE class, like legs, arms, body, mind, focus.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, I can do this. But ran into a lot of, you had novice players like myself, and you had the players like the second you saw the gleam off of their glasses, you were shot and you were done with. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I like the different type of crowd here. Everybody's a good sport about it. There were some people who got heated, but
Right.
just a lot of people were like, all right, I got my thing. Let's do this thing. It could change up at any moment. Like you could have a strategy, but then sometimes you got to just throw it out the window.
Yeah. The maps, we played at Level Up in Grove City for those who are local to Columbus, but the maps, the variety of the maps, and you know me, I'm a COD fanboy. So the fact that, you got the trailers, it reminds me of Nuketown. There's just, it's something I've been doing for a long time. Glad you got to experience it for the first time.
That's
And
right.
hope to have you out there soon. I think we're looking to do it again August, early August. I
Okay.
think we're going to try to hit that sweet spot towards the end of the summer before the kids go back to school, before sports and yada, yada. So I
Okay.
think that's what we're trying. So love to have you back out there.
No problem.
But appreciate you coming on the pod.
Yeah.
It's your birthday.
Hey,
Got one more
29.
year.
Oh,
One
yeah.
more.
And I'll leave all my 20s behind.
Wow. 29. Who would have thunk it, huh?
boy. That is some like, all right, next day, I'm ready for it. I was like, all right, Nathan, what are you gonna do for your birthday? I'm like, keeping it simple, staying in the house. I'm gonna have to do some yard work later on this week, but I'm like, I'm gonna chillax today.
Yeah. Well, your clan, your kiddos are about the same ages as mine. So we had our kids when we were 25, 26, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And it just felt like ever since that time, timeline has just accelerated,
Yeah.
right? So, I mean, I'm going to be 32 this year, which is wild. Doesn't
Okay.
feel like a real number.
And
Yeah.
honestly, you don't think about it, and you're like, as a teen, as a kid, you're like, when I get to this age, blah blah blah, and I probably like now you're there, and it's like, whoa, okay, we're really getting up there, seeing
Yeah.
all the things we've accomplished, what we wanted to do, what we are doing. It's unreal sometimes.
Yeah. It's just time is, what do they say? It's a vapor,
Yeah.
right? So you got to enjoy it. But, anyways, Charzelle, I know you got a few things that you want to talk about today. One other thing I want to get into, we talked about paintball, we talked about your birthday, uh, Fallout. Have you watched the show Fallout?
I have.
Which any thoughts about that? We haven't talked about this before the pod, so this is the first time we're talking about it.
The ghoul, Walter Goggins, I really love him. I don't know. I mean, I know the Pip Boy animations, the little wristwatch is cool. Besides that, I'm not a huge Fallout fan, but when I watch the show, I just found myself getting to the next episode. Like, what's next? Come on, what's next? I was enthralled by the time the season 1 and 2 ending. I'm like, all right, maybe I should get into Fallout.
Yeah.
Figure out more about what's going around the world building.
The game itself.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, that's good. That's
Mhm.
good to hear, especially that you haven't really got into the games as much. You've at
Not
least
at all.
tried them, maybe
I played New Vegas
a little bit.
a little over a decade ago. I don't remember much of what I
Yeah.
did, but my
It's
buddy was like, I
shockingly
could play
old.
it.
Let's take a look here. New Vegas game release date. Looking it up now. 2010. 16
that's
years ago.
bizarre.
Wow. But my experience with Fallout is I played very little of New Vegas. I
Yeah.
think for the Fallout community, New Vegas is the one.
One of the ones, yeah.
It's like that's top tier. Mine was Fallout 3. It doesn't get as much love, but if that was the setting was Metro DC area, which was just awesome. That was my first experience. It was my first Fallout. I enjoyed New Vegas. I can't, well, let me backtrack. I can't really say that just because I didn't play it too much for whatever reason. Not that I didn't like it, but didn't get into it. Later on, fast forward a few years later, played Fallout 4.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed that, but I don't know. I think Fallout 4 was about 10 years ago now. And there was a ton of games and just a lot happening outside of gaming for me. But that was 2015.
Hey.
And I played it for the first month. I liked it.
Yeah.
But it felt too much like Fallout 3. And, you're going to have some sameness with each Fallout title.
Okay.
But I remember being stoked for 76. 76 was Appalachia, America. You had the multiplayer aspect of it, and they didn't have a campaign for whatever reason. Or they didn't have a campaign? Is that right?
I believe they said either something about the campaign, or I believe it was the online, or there wasn't a lot to do. Everybody I've asked about 76 and why it fell, even my closest buddy, he was like, it just felt empty. He's like, you just like blowing up a balloon, but with no confetti in it. I'm like, yikes. I was like,
Wow.
Doesn't sound like that's that fun.
Yeah. If I remember right, there was a lack of NPCs, I think. So it wasn't a fully fleshed out campaign as what the Fallout titles are known for, that open world exploration. But going back to the TV show, you watched season 1, you watched season 2. I'm not quite there with season 2. I've watched the first episode of season 2, watched season 1. So I'm late to the party with season 2 because I know it came out last December.
Yeah.
So I'm finally getting around to it. But I'm glad you mentioned Walter Goggins. He steals the show.
He does.
He is an iconic character.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to think of iconic characters from video game adaptations. he's got to be top 5.
He's
I mean, I'm struggling to
definitely
think of somebody who's better than him. I'm sure there's a few other names that I'm not thinking of, but in terms of TV shows, video game adaptations,
mhm.
my goodness, he's awesome. And the dichotomy of his ghoul character
Yeah.
post-war, and then they keep showing his character pre-war,
Yeah.
which is, in the the show itself, it's 200 plus years before his transformation to a ghoul, but it's just fascinating. He is acting his butt off,
And
and I love it.
he's enjoying it. He says that, like, the get up, he likes the cowboy get up. He's very familiar to the cowboy get up movies and TV shows that he's been in. It fits him no matter what alterations are for it. The attack could change, the outfit could change, the demeanor could change, but he can play that cowboy just second nature. Smooth talk, quick hands, fast action. You blink and you miss an entire scene where he just took on 5 guys, and they're like, "We can take this guy," and he's, well, and now you all are dead. I'm like, can't beat that.
I know it's sacrilege, but in terms of the actor to the character,
Yeah,
it reminds me of Downey and Stark.
a
Like
little
it's
bit.
that
Yeah,
good in terms of the alignment, but it also reminds me of. Did you ever see Breaking Bad?
in and out.
In and out. So there is Bryan Cranston, who's Walter White, and the whole concept of the show is he starts out as this teacher who got diagnosed with cancer. He's
Mm-hmm.
trying to, he's on death. He's at death's door. He's trying to look out for his family, trying to provide his family. So that's why he's going down this route, or at least that's what I recall.
Yep.
But then he keeps making choice after choice after choice, and the showrunners or the writers, they're daring you, the audience, in terms of how far are you going to hitch your wagon to this guy?
Oh,
Like, when are you going
wow.
to say enough's enough? This guy is not a good guy anymore. He's a bad guy. We're jumping off the Walter. I was going to say Walter Goggins,
Yeah.
but the Mr. White, bandwagon essentially.
Okay.
But it kind of reminds me of that because Goggins' ghoul he's a mercenary.
Yeah,
Not
he
that
is.
he's inherently evil, but you understand that it seems like he's lost hope, right?
Yeah.
He's you know just more or less taking care of these jobs and so forth. But
Yeah.
he wants to find out. Like he's just driven by this mission to find out what happened to his wife and daughter. But
Yeah.
it's just interesting that dynamic where he's a mercenary, but you're still wanting to root for him,
He is.
even though he's not really giving you too much reason to do.
He's pretty much I got a goal, whether you believe you're a friend or an enemy, I will go through you if need be. He has no problem getting the job done. I'm like, it's a kind of like oh man, it's a hearty feeling. Like you want to get what you need done. Sometimes there are the people, the obstacles, places, and things in the way, and he's very, all right. I warned you. If I have to use force, he'll use force typically.
Yeah, I'm looking at the cast really quick.
Yeah.
So the other characters, Lucy, which if that's not done the right way, she could be very annoying.
Yeah.
But Ella Purnell, I think she's been in other shows. I'm sure I've seen her before, but she's really a newcomer, I would think, but she's awesome. And then Maximus.
Yeah. Oh man.
I just love his character, and I think he's going to be the next big star.
He's
Like,
got the stoic face down, ironclad, like no matter what happens to him, whether it's a small surprise, a big surprise, once he gets that stoic face in the show, I'm like, okay, he's gonna get something done. It's gonna be either good or bad, but it's gonna have to be something he will do.
yeah, all 3 storylines, and that's how they've been selling this show. You have
Yeah.
Maximus, you have the Ghoul, you have Lucy, and the trifecta. Like, I'm buying into all 3 storylines. Like,
Yeah.
each one of those could be its own show.
It's true.
So it's just been incredible what they've been able to do with that. So that is Jonathan Nolan, who's the EP, the co-creator, primary director, from what I'm seeing on IMDb.
Okay.
You may have heard of his brother, Chris Nolan.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
So,
boy.
you know, very talented duo, but neat. I mean, it's just, I'm glad as a me, I played the Fallout games as we talked about.
Yeah.
And as we've seen, these video game adaptations have gone horribly wrong.
There are the bad ones. There
Yeah,
are the bad ones.
there's a few in there, but the fact that this game is getting the proper treatment is just awesome. So just wanted to put in a quick word for Fallout. If you haven't watched the show, I encourage you, please go check it out as soon as you can. I can't believe I'm just now getting to season 2, but I can't wait because later on tonight I'm jumping back into it. All right, Charzel, what do you have for us?
All right. So one of the topics I like to talk about, and it's fun always experiencing first person, third person, but it's favorites, like video game favorites. What point in time did this series character game become, man, I'm going to live by this game? Like, mine personally is Metroid. My wife, Charlie, she likes Ark, she likes The Sims, she likes these horror games. Outlast, it's a horror game through a camcorder. She showed it to me. I had no idea what it was. I think I saw a couple walkthroughs and I'm like, okay, this isn't too bad. I was trying to be brave, but I was shaking at that controller. Brother-in-law, he likes Kingdom Hearts, and I'm just thinking like, all right, before I try these games, what got you guys into it? For Charlie, she said she watched her YouTubers play it. I'm like, okay, I can do this. I watched them play a little bit, but I see the appeal as I go through the game. Not every single game where someone's like, this is my diehard favorite. I'll be like, oh man, like one of my buddies really liked Tom Clancy's The Division. And I'm like, I played it. It kind of felt very cardboard style, like, move 2 spaces, shoot this enemy, move another 2 spaces. Division fans, I'm sorry, I just couldn't get into it. I tried, but,
Right.
not everybody's enjoyed Metroid or, some people like the Super Mario, Sonic, the Fast Blue, it's always intriguing where at what moment you have these lineup of games and someone's like, well, that one right there, I played it. Couldn't stop playing it. It was like, it was enticing, it was invigorating, and they're like, you haven't played this? I'm like, I haven't played it, no. Sorry. Man, you gotta check it out, blah, blah, blah. So I have like a list, almost seems like an endless list of games I still need to try out. Because someone's like, you don't know about this series? You haven't played this series? I'm like, I missed that boat. I'm sorry,
Yeah, it reminds me of the meme. I'm sure you've seen this where it's a little boy on a park bench with an older gentleman.
Yeah.
You know what meme I'm talking about? Where
Mhm.
I forget the interaction, but it says, the child can't afford the games, but he's got all the time in the world to play the games. But then the older gentleman, he's got the money, he can afford the games.
Yeah.
Problem is, he doesn't have any time to play them.
I might have.
So it's a funny meme. I'm butchering that horribly, but you're right. Division 1 and 2,
Yeah.
for me being the battle dad that I am, that was made for me. I mean, it's a slower pace than typical Call of Duty. If you
Yeah.
think Black Ops 6 or certainly Division's not that. It's a Tom Clancy game, but I've played Tom Clancy games. I remember, Siege has been incredible.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think you mentioned you played Siege, and
Oh, yeah, loved it.
I played Rainbow Six Vegas back in the day. But I should want to play that game because from what I remember, it's open world and
little
there's
bit,
different
yeah.
elements. And for whatever reason, I couldn't get into it.
I couldn't. Nope.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure why. So I think you're onto something. But I remember going back to Metroid. Man, I want to know how much they spent in advertising dollars for that. Because I remember, I mean, what are we talking here now? Let's just looking at the release date here. 2002 was the first one.
Prime
Metroid
game?
Prime, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that, and I don't know, there's something about a character that you can get behind.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even though I haven't played it myself, but I know that character, I've seen that character, and it's just an iconic character. Yeah, so they must have spent, I don't know how much money on marketing, because at that time, this is almost 25 years ago now, I remember Metroid everywhere.
Yep. They did the kiosks, at a Big K or Walmart. Yeah. I was
Big K, we're going back.
It's been a minute. And I'm like, my mom was like, all right, hey, I'm going to be shopping for like 20, 30 minutes. Remain here at this kiosk. And I'm already click, clack, click,
Yeah.
clack, click, clack, click. Yeah, mom. Yeah. Yeah, you're good. Playing Mario Kart. It was Double Dash, back before they did the Wii kiosk. It was the GameCube. They had Double Dash. They had Legend of Zelda. had Metroid Prime at one point. I'm like, what is this? I'm like, ah, well, that's probably some space game I won't play. Later, little did I know later down the line, I'm like, no, Metroid Fusion was my first Metroid game I played, fell in love with it, played it top to bottom. My mom was like, man, you're playing that game a lot, you sure you don't want to play Mario or Sonic? I'm like, well, I like those guys too, but like, this guy here, little did I know Samus was a girl. I'm like, this guy, space person, it's so cool. I'm like, I can't stop playing. It was hard to put down.
Yeah.
And then it just honed in as one of my favorite space shooters of all time. They're like, yeah, that's right. You're a Metroid fan. I'm like, I know the little secrets, the quickest way to get through the game. There's some that I have played, but then there's like, I haven't fully gotten all the way through. But then there's the ones that, the majority of them that I've played top to bottom, and I could just tell you everything about it. And they're like, well, cool. Well, we was playing Halo at that time, or somebody else was playing COD, the Mario Party, Smash Brothers games I still haven't even heard about. And they're like, wonder why Metroid was your favorite. I'm like, it just, it brought you in. It made you the character, and you lost. It felt fair. There's those bosses. You had to find the simple plot, find the weakness, destroy the boss, move on. There wasn't a lot of runaround, and this was Game Boy, so you didn't have full open worlds. You had to go mission by mission, and like anybody else with their favorite game, that was something I did. I just couldn't understand it. Even now, I don't want to understand it because I feel like a means to an end. So I'm like, what's everybody else's favorite games?
Yeah, and how they get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said about you don't forget your first.
You can't. You just can't.
And how do you make that pivot? Because it is an investment to try out new games. I'm trusting you. You had mentioned Division 1 and 2.
Yeah.
You tried, didn't work out for whatever reason. But I think, a lot of us, we've been gaming for, some of us closer to 3 decades.
Yeah.
Some of us over, well, not quite 3 decades, but getting close there.
Yeah.
But I think there's something that, I think it does, your experience is going to go a little dull if you stay in your lane. It's good to explore, try some different games, and glad to hear that you are trying some of these, and not all of them are going to, check off the boxes for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, it's just interesting because you had mentioned Super K, Big K, right?
Big K,
Super
yep.
K, Walmart, they had these stations. And for some of our younger listeners, a lot of our listeners probably going to be a little, closer to our age, and they'll remember these.
Yeah.
But I don't even think the Walmart here in town has them anymore, do they?
They do have the demo kiosks for like PS5, Xbox One.
They do?
Switch 2, yeah, they still have them.
They still have them. Okay. Yep. Okay. My experience is that they're going away with them for the most part. But you would think that would be a good way to, serve it as an opportunity to get hands-on with the game, right? But I just think that speaks to where the industry's going. They're not selling to the brick and mortar stores anymore. I mean, you could certainly get your games from these brick and mortar stores, but it's all digital, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just different. It's not what we grew up with. It's changing of the guard. I don't think that means this is a better way. I don't think the old way was better. I think there's, you can, if you have a pro and cons columns here, I mean, I'm sure you can check off for each one. You can check boxes in both columns. But I think there was GTA. There was news about the GTA 6, right?
Yeah, I think about the pre-orders. A lot of people were like raring themselves to go. They're like, well, "This is it. We're ready." It's about time.
But I'm fairly certain Rockstar's disc-less GTA 6 is the death of physical games.
Oh, man.
And did you hear about this?
I know.
This was a big deal.
I think I saw something about Insomniac mentioning Wolverine having physical copies, versus GTA 6. And I'm like, oh, man, they're not going to have a physical copy. That's odd.
IGN had an article, GTA 6 physical copies won't include a disc. Will just be a code in a box.
Oh, wow.
And I think we've been headed in that direction.
Yeah.
For me, again, being a battle dad, when I go to, it's been a while since I've last been to a Call of Duty launch event, but it used to be you would line up outside of GameStop, Walmart, Best Buy.
Yeah.
At midnight, you're getting this, you're going home, you pop it into the console, you're playing.
Yep.
That's changed because now if you did that in recent years, you had to put the disc in. Now you got to download the update.
Oh,
That can
yeah.
take a couple hours
Oh, yeah.
at least. So it really wasn't, if you want to get your hands on the game as quickly as possible, you're better just buying the digital copy
Yeah.
and then doing the pre-download, the pre-install, and then be ready to go by the time of launch. So it used to be you line up outside, you're going to be the one of the first ones to
Oh,
have
yeah.
it. Not the case anymore. So I think a lot of us who still did those launch events, it was purely nostalgia at that point. But
Oh boy, more power to them.
but even then, you still have the digital component, but you also have the physical component. Now
yeah.
I just think we're going away. But what it says here is you can still get Rockstar, I should say, will still sell physical copies, though you only get a box containing a code.
That's
So
it.
there's going to be a box, but there's no disc. There's nothing. It's just a code. It's just a new world that we're living in slightly. I'm getting emotional thinking about it.
Honestly, it's, because even with all the stores that would even, the pawn stores, they still had the physical games, you'd go in like a little nostalgia trip, like, hey, I remember I used to go through and pick me out a Wii game, or even the places that rent out the game, now some places they can give you a code. It could be a temporary code, but I remember used to going in and like, oh, hey, you got this game. And they're like, well, we don't have the physical copy. Sorry, you'll have to try again later. Now I can be, all right, here's the digital copy. I can get that at my convenience, but it just feels like a little less loot from the adventure to get said game. The wait time, the hype is always worth it for some of the ones that you like. This is it. Oh man, this is going to be a great game. But now there's so many options to get it. It's like, man, you'd think we used to have it rough. If the physical copy wasn't there, you didn't get the game. There was no purchase it offline. I believe the Wii started doing it. They started, PS3, I believe, had the digital versions, then you can get these games, play it with your friends day one. It was great. But like you said, the waiting in line thing, you don't see that hardly anymore.
No.
Last time I waited in line, it was for Super Smash Brothers for the Wii U. They had this many amount of copies. Yeah, you could get it online, but it was still fun to go out and get a physical copy. It was to save for space, because I believe even the best Wii U, the black one, had only 32 gigabytes. Smash Brothers itself was like 8 of those. So, of course, more memory, slower the console. So you physical copy all day. But now it's, Tom, Dick, or Harry. Yeah, I got the digital version, man. I ain't got to worry about it. But now you got to sacrifice storage. It's always a give and take with these things. And there are 30 years from now, there can be a new gimmick. Hey, now you got to laser it onto your eyeballs, and play the game. And then, once your eyes get dry, you got to squirt it back into and reconnect. I can only imagine what's next. But we'll be there, to be like, hey, how did you guys used to do it? And then look at it, it's like, man, that's like an ancient way. I'm like, but that's how we did it, son. We had the physical copies. By that time, you could tattoo a barcode on your hand and scan it.
There's your code.
Yet now you're in the game. Like, wow, that's nifty. But man, it makes me feel that nostalgic feeling. Feels like we're outdated somewhat.
Right. And that's bound to happen when you're doing for something as long as we've been doing it.
Oh, yeah.
But one of the younger kiddos at the paintball event over the weekend, he was born in 2010. isn't that wild?
6 years later, I graduated.
Yeah. That just doesn't seem real. But his experience for the most part is, and I've actually, we've had big LAN parties at my place and so forth. And all of his games, from what I've seen, his catalog, they're all digital copies.
Oh,
they're
wow.
from if I remember correctly, there was like no physical copies. Now he may have left his collection at home. I'm thinking he doesn't even have a collection, but I think that's just where it is. I mean, this younger generation here, the way they came up into this generation, right? So it was digital copies, and that's what they're used to, and that's fine. So I think this conversation's morphing into something else. And I would say if we don't have those launch events, if we don't have LAN parties, kind of takes away from it being the sense of togetherness.
Yeah.
It felt like an experience, felt like an event. And we're just kind of getting away from that. The only way you can tell it's an event is, you'll know which of your friends are playing. If a fair majority of your friends are playing, this game's big, right?
Yep.
You may see it advertised on TV. You may see it advertised on, it's not even advertised on TV anymore. It's going to be advertised on YouTube. It's going to be advertised, I would think, by one of your favorite content creators, influencers, or streamers. That's where it's headed.
Yep.
So no longer are these studios, if they're going to push out a blockbuster AAA title, unless you're Call of Duty and some of these bigger titles, you're not going to be spending millions of dollars to drop an ad like they would do for, circa 2007 for Halo 3 during the Super Bowl. That's not happening anymore.
Yep.
Now what they're going to do, and we've seen this with Call of Duty, they'll set up these events where they'll bring in 50 content creators, streamers, and influencers and so forth, and then they're going to reach out to their individual audiences. And that's just where it's been. That's where it's going. And I think, the industry's realizing, hey, a lot of these people, these streamers, content creators and so forth, I mean, they have a lot of influence.
They do,
for lack of a better term.
Some of these guys will play it next to nothing. They're like, excuse me. They're like, oh, hey, here's this little game demo, little dev snippet. If you guys want to try this out, Five Nights at Freddy's. There wasn't advertisements on TV, phone apps and whatnot, but you had like the people who spearheaded it, the demo, Markiplier, PewDiePie, Jacksepticeye. A lot of people played these games and everybody's like, wow, well, this game's phenomenal. We love watching it, so let's play it. Then you got these people who went off of what the other streamers did. They streamed it. They had fun with it. They may not be the top tier streamer, but then you search Five Nights at Freddy's now and it's boom, 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 boom. Everybody's played it. It's been everywhere. And the guy, Scott Cawthon, he was a low end creator. His games in his earlier games didn't take off at all. Then he was like, you know what? Figured I'd change up the dynamic some. Threw it out there and everybody loved it. It spread like wildfire. And now I don't know anybody who doesn't know Five Nights at Freddy's, especially the younger generation.
Right.
They're all over it.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean Freddy? And here's the 8 different versions of Freddy, Chica, Bonnie, Foxy. And I'm like, well, when I started, there was only 4 characters. Now there's hundreds of them. And everybody said, the content creator even was like, yeah, well, all these characters are canonical. Everybody's canonical now. You got the people who made the side games, the fan music, everything. The guy's like, well, you guys took it up for me. I created it, but you guys really lifted it. Now it's one of the things you talk about in any type of, hey, what do you think of these indie games today? And I feel like that's where some of these indie horror, indie adventure, indie racing games take off. You just scoot it over to somebody, be like, hey, just try this out. Next thing you know, it's like passing it around. It's like wildfire. Like, this is really good. It's like a really enjoyable dish that everybody can get behind. And even the ones who don't like it, like it. There's times where I'm like, well, it's going to be kind of annoying. Some of these games or some of the characters are not always my cup of tea, but then it's like, well, Mark played it. Markiplier played it. All these guys played it. And now the guys even these big devs are like, what can we do to get this type of audience? These guys, it took off and it's still soaring. And Five Nights at Freddy's came out, 2014? So 12 years ago.
The game itself?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
First demo, first early access people who played it took a chance and it became a movement. You know, our generation, younger generation, and they're like, this is a game, It's really nice when you have that. You can spread around these indie games because those have blown up throughout the years. You can wait on a AAA title because you're playing this indie game from 5 years ago. And it helps bridge the gap. It helps the wait not feel so long. And that's just what people are really into today. And it's everywhere. You can get it on your phone, tablet, iPad, music player at this point. It's everywhere.
Yeah. And going back to Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah.
Have you seen the 2 movies?
I have.
If I'm not mistaken, Markiplier is not involved in any of them, right?
He wanted to be, but he was working on his own movie.
Iron Lung?
Yep.
And that kept him out from both movies?
Yeah.
Because they did them almost back to back. The first one was 23. I just looked up 23, and then the second one was 25. Yep. And apparently it was just talked about this week. Hollywood Reporter announced that Five Nights at Freddy's 3 is in the works.
Oh yeah, they're ready.
And they got the writer for it,
Yeah.
not Stephen King, but I just had it here. And Annabelle.
Nice. Okay.
Let's see here. I just had it here. I'm not going to find it, but there it is. Gary Duberman. I'm sure I'm butchering that, but he'll write it. So he screenwriter for it and Annabelle. So he's got some street cred, to say the least.
Yeah. Those
but
blew up.
it's a shame that they couldn't make that work, because obviously from me being outside Five Nights at Freddy's, I haven't played it myself, but I recognize just how big of a phenomenon it was.
Oh yeah.
And you got these movies coming out, and I wanted to go see the movies just because, again, I realized it was the phenomenon that it was. But the fact that Markiplier's not in it, it just doesn't feel good. It's like they could have done something. They could have figured it out. But let's see here. Yeah, Markiplier, big fans of Markiplier here. And he's originally from Cincinnati.
Yes.
I think. So
yes.
He kind of feels like one of us.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, he's one of those guys where I watch and it's like, wow, if we grew up in the same town, we'd be best friends.
Yeah, he's a warm hug. And, even though I'm not fully up to date every single thing he's been doing recently besides Iron Lung, but like I'll go back to an old playlist, Inscription, FNAF. He did the Henry Stickmin games, and I always enjoy watching Mark play the Henry Stickmin games. It's like I've played them, but I actually haven't. It's not. I could tell you everything about it, but just through Mark's eyes, him playing it, where what he finds the most funny about it, then you can tell where he's focusing in real hard, and it's like, man, I've been watching this guy forever, and I love always going back to that old content of his.
Yeah, when was the first time that you sat down and watched somebody stream a game? You remember that?
Game Grumps.
Yeah.
The Game Grumps YouTube channel, they've been around forever.
Okay.
Aaron Hansen and Dan Avidan.
Okay.
Those two are personal. I love them. The wife always knows what's going on Game Grumps wise, because I'm in there quoting it, laughing about it. She's in there getting a good chuckle off of them.
Yeah.
But they play all different sorts of games. Dating sims, basic AAA games, indie games you've never even heard of. And even the movie cinematic games, like the older ones, there's a game they played called Harvester. It's like an old 90s game, but it was a game where you had multiple discs to play the game because the whole game could not fit on one disc. Of course, when they played it on Steam, so it'd be like, hey, flip to disc 2, play the continue to play. And they're all, well, we have convenience of modern day technology. We already have the whole game, but it was one of those, it was like the game that you would find at like 2 a.m. You would play from like your parents' collection. It's like, well, I'm gonna try this out. I played a few games out of my mom's collection. She played Diner Dash a lot. She played the hidden mystery games, but it had that old aesthetic to it, like the old I Spy books. You had the one thing that was standing out amongst everything else, but the rest of the game, the Harvester game, looked like that I Spy book background. Everything was real stationary, would maybe move a few pixels, but it was supposed to be a horror game. And it was it was so enthralling. There wasn't no big time action. It wasn't a Doom game. You weren't slaying demons in hell, but you were just figuring out this big mystery of this cult that was going on. And I'm just like, they did a full playthrough together of it. And they had the episodes, but then they did the full walkthrough. They re-released a full walkthrough, and it was like a 4-hour walkthrough. I'll just sit there and drink it like water. And Charlie's like, you still watching that? I'm like, I can't not watch it because it's just something about them. I used to not like, Let's Players and, hey, let's play through this. Something about Danny and Aaron, it's never a dull moment with these guys. They've had ups, the sad moments, the good moments, the rage moments, absolute the best. Love the Game Grumps.
Yeah. I'm sure I've seen this without realizing it. I'm sure I've stumbled upon it and didn't think anything of it, but it definitely going to have to check it out based on your recommendation here.
And they have a little something for everybody, they play all different sorts of games. They have the ones where they're a little bit more adult themed. Then they have the one where they're pretty chill. They're mellow, but those guys are still going strong, and they still bring a smile to my face.
Yeah. And I think that is the issue with some of these individuals who are wanting to get in the stream game.
Oh yeah.
They look at the big titles. Okay, well, I'm going to stream Call of Duty, or I'm going to stream Fortnite, I'm going to stream Fall Guys,
Oh
or,
yeah.
and so forth. But how many, literally millions of people are streaming these games? What is going to set you apart? A lot of these the ones with the most name recognition, like a Ninja or Doctor Disrespect,
Oh yeah.
they've been doing this for a long time. They were the forerunners, if you will, the godfathers of all this. They started before everyone else did,
Yeah.
so they're already embedded in people's algorithms just because of their viewer count. I think it's almost nearly impossible
Mhm.
for. I mean, can you name someone who's come up through the ranks within the last few years?
True.
I mean, it's really hard. I mean, because I don't see them popping up on my algorithm,
Yeah.
like really popping off in a big way. Like the only ones who are showing up in my algorithm, and this is where you got to be careful because if you like something
Yeah.
that Ninja's team puts out,
Oh yeah.
your algorithm is filled with Ninja content. It's
It'll
like,
filter in like
yeah,
wildfire.
you got to be really cognizant of what you're liking and so forth, because again, it's going to get you a warped view
Oh yeah.
of so forth. But I want to see from some of these up and comers, but just the algorithm is working against us.
Yeah.
So I just think it's so hard. But if you have, like this duo where they're streaming a variety of games
Mhm.
across the entire spectrum, anything from indie games to some of these bigger titles, and it's more in terms of entertainment, sheer entertainment,
Yeah.
then I think that there's something to be said about that. And I think that's why they have the audience that they have. But I think if you're just simply going at it where I'm going to stream Call of Duty and people are going to watch me because they're impressed by my skill,
Oh
I'm
man.
the most battle dad of battle dads, and I'm not going to go out of my way to go watch that,
Yeah.
because you might as well go watch the, champs, if you
Pretty
will.
much, yeah, the high-end tournaments,
Right.
But I do like occasionally going from my big time streamers, the Ninjas, the Markipliers, the Game Grumps,
Yeah.
to the lower tier to where it's like sometimes I'll just scroll through the games catalog categories on YouTube. I'll click on, I'll be like, hey, let's see who's playing randomly Mario Kart World right now. Be a low time streamer. They have maybe about 500-600 viewers, but something about hey, it didn't feel real too big, it's someone else's perspective on what they think on the game, and you want to see who else is playing this right now outside of you got the people who are still playing Apex, League, World of Warcraft players, COD players. It's nice to take a step back to see who's playing all these little smaller titles because there's the people who can bring up those smaller titles, but then there's some that's the title still is small, the fan base, the community is still as small, but there's something that still kind of pulls you in. It's not a big hand pulling you in. It's like a little tiny hand pulling you by the pinky. It's like, hey, hey, you could check this out. Hey, what's this person doing? You got the VTubers who do it, the people who you won't see their face, but you hear their voice, and the people who's dressed as the characters too. Those are always, you'll always find something. There's always something you'll find, and I always like the long streams where it's like, I never thought about playing the game this way, or here's the big way you could play it, but even just the little small, minute things that I wouldn't normally do, I would sit there and watch someone play for hours. And I'm like, I like this. I like this, But thankfully, I'm not like, all right, I watched it for 5 minutes. All right, I'm going to subscribe. I can't do that because then if I were to do that, subscription would be a laundry list. So I like
Right.
watching them, going back and forth between this person and three other people. And I'll go
Yeah.
back to my big guys, my Game Grumps, the Markipliers and whatnot. And I'll be like, what do they think of this game? And who's playing this game right now?
You don't want it to feel like a chore, but by any means.
No.
I'm looking up streamers. Who is the one who's been streaming? And it's going to sound like I'm throwing shade at him. I'm not. I'm just concerned about the fact that he's playing Minecraft, or at least, I don't know. He's a nice kid. I think he's smaller. He's got a big thing of hair. Do you know who I'm talking about? This is terrible for the pod. It's not Ali A. It's, oh my goodness. He's such a nice guy too.
Yeah.
I'm going to get ripped for this, but I'm concerned because I think streaming took off in a big way about 10 years ago,
Oh, yeah.
as we talked about. And then it kind of blew up during COVID because most of us are at home or
Yeah.
we were stuck inside. So those numbers, those peak levels of COVID, those aren't real numbers because everyone just couldn't leave. They were just trying to find some kind of entertainment. So I think we've been trying to get back to those COVID levels. And I don't think we're ever going to get back there unless, God, hopefully we don't have another pandemic or anything like that. No, but for some of these streamers who've been at it for as long as they are, like I've kind of seen it with Ninja. Not that I'm tuning in every day.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem all that entertaining. Again, it seems like I'm throwing shade. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking that he started out doing Halo, then he got into Fortnite here, and then he's been doing some different games, some different battle royales and so forth. And I think he was doing, what was the Extraction? Was the newer one? Not Apex. Was the I'm blanking on it. But anyways, it just seems like that shtick has grown old. I mean, he's incredible. He's very skilled, obviously.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, his audience really enjoys him. I mean, he's still at the top of the charts from what I recall. I'm looking at the Twitch leaderboards from 2024. But yeah, I'm just curious, like what does the next phase look like? How long can they squeeze that orange or that lemon?
True.
Right? Especially for some of these folks who have been, some of these have been streaming Minecrafts, for 15 years now. When they were 15, now they're 30.
Yeah.
There's a younger demographic who's obsessed with Minecraft. I don't know about your kiddos. My kiddos are going to be getting into Minecraft here soon at some point.
Yeah.
How long can you be doing that, before it gets weird, right? You have like a 35-year-old man streaming Minecraft. It's going to get weird. So how do they transition out of that? I don't know.
And it's always something some of these guys will bring up. The crew that I watch, the crew that me and Charlie watch together or on our own, they're like, we don't know what we're going to do in the next 10 years. If we can keep YouTubing, that'd be great. They say, who knows? It's kind of not for us. There's some YouTubers who's retired. They have kids. They have other obligations now. So then they'll be like, oh yeah, we love the younger demographic, but they said it's kind of a bittersweet feeling for some of them. And it's like, here was I 15 or so years ago. Like you said, they're 30, 40, some of these guys are getting up there. And now it's like, what is next? How are we, what is the next main thing that's going to be, the next main level, if as it were? Who's going to be spearheading it? How long are all some of these big dogs are going to stay on top? The Logan Pauls and whatnot. How long are they going to be up there? What are we going to be watching in 10 years? I believe the thought has crossed a lot of people's mind, but it's one of those, like, we'll have to see when we get there. Some people have a set time mapped out. Some people are like, I'll keep going either till I A, drop dead, or B, want to move on. I'm doing this as a side thing. Some people do it as a main thing. Makes you wonder, but just hope that there's still a good flow. Everybody has fun with it. Everybody can take a small time game and turn it into a AAA title style from all the fan base, the communities, everybody who loved it. People who don't like it, it's still some type of support, because then it's like, you got some people who's sitting back like, I created this. This is something that's going to be far beyond even me. I could be dead and gone, and this is still something that's still going. So I wonder what the next 10, 15 years are going to be like for streaming, just watching entertainment.
Yeah, it seems like we've been in the streamer, influencer, content creator phase for a while with the same kind of games.
Yeah.
I mean, let's bring it back to Call of Duty. Call of Duty's just seems like, I think we all can agree, it hit its peak maybe 15 years ago.
Yeah, like, honestly.
I don't think it's the game itself. I just think even if we had the same, let's say Black Ops 2, the original Black Ops 2 came out this fall.
Yeah.
I think if we had all this history of Call of Duty, I think people would be out on it. I just think the formula has run dry. There's only so many newer iterations, revisions you can do with the formula. I mean, they got bailed out. They got another few years because of Warzone, but maybe the death of Call of Duty should have happened sooner. I mean, I say death, but it is still one of the biggest titles out there. All right. We'll go ahead and do an outro. Charzelle, thanks for being on. Thanks for making this happen, especially on your birthday. Happy birthday again to you.
I appreciate it.
And looking forward to having you back on soon.
No problem.
Brother, thank you.